10. Hi, ladies. I think I'll just start my new every webcast out like that. It's good to be back. It's been a couple days since I actually did a review, and but as you all know, I am Spidey is the Mega Beast. Ladies, I am the Mega Beast. I am a Mega Beast. Look at this. Look at this. Oh, I always like to throw a little plug in for myself. You all know that. The ladies love me, and there's some that hate me, but I don't care about them because they can't have this. Anyway, that's enough. That's enough of this self-plugging and stuff like that before I get carried away here. You know, we're going to talk about another. We talked about this series before, Return of the Living Dead 1, 2, and 3. Now, I enjoyed Return of the Living Dead Part 1 and Return of the Living Dead Part 2 immensely. They're comedies, they're funny, everything. Number 3 is the more serious, Return of the Living Dead Part 3. But tonight we're going to, I kind of like that one too. It's more gory and right to the point. But we're going to, like I said before, we are going to review at least the 4th movie tonight. I don't think we're going to review the 5th movie called Rave to the Grave, which is a total piece of shit. And Jesus, God, I'm looking good. Oh my God, I'm looking good. Oh my God. Oh, I make this Spidey suit look so good. Anyway, we're going to be talking about Return of the Living Dead Part 4, Necropolis. And this is the cover for it. Okay, there it is. I don't know if you can really see that with the reflection in the glare. Anyway, it's really not worth even looking at. There it is, yeah. Oh, God, there it is. Oh, it's a terrible movie. It's a terrible movie. You know, in the past, I've kind of liked this movie, but I did watch it in a couple of nights ago, and I have to admit that it is not quite as good as I remember. And I didn't even like it in the first place. I just kind of like gave it a marginal thumbs up, in my own mind and stuff like that. And so I basically have decided to give it a review tonight, and it ain't going to get a very good review, folks. The only recognizable face in this movie is Peter Coyote. You would recognize him instantly. He's been in tons of movies, and stuff like that, and TV shows. He's very well known, at least his face is very well known. You might not recognize his name, but you'll recognize his face. Basically, this movie was filmed in Russia, I believe, somewhere by Chernobyl, wherever it's called, the failed nuclear plant. And anyway, he's the head of this big high-tech company called Hydra Tech or something like that. And he heads all the research programs and everything. And, they're one of these high-tech companies that provide fertilizer to the farmers around the world, and they're weapons for the military and stuff like that. This movie reminds me of, folks, a poor man's Resident Evil movies. Now, I love all 5 Resident Evil movies, but this movie falls flat in his face. It's basically trying to rip off that particular series of horror movies, zombie movies with Mila Jovanovic, whatever her name is. I love those movies, folks. I love those movies a lot. All those movies would get high ratings for me, even though some people don't like the Resident Evil movies. I like the Resident Evil movies. I have all 5, and of course, I'm working on number 6. I think it comes out later this year or next year, or whatever it is. But back to Return of the Living Dead Part 4, Necropolis. Anyway, oh God. The acting is really lame in this movie. It's, like I said, it's filmed over in Russia. There's nothing really good about this movie. It has one stupid part where oh God, basically Hardrict is, where Peter Coyote works, basically. They turned in this whole facility into like experimenting on people and stuff like zombies because they want to make bioweapons. Oh boy, like I said before, like number 3, same fucking story. They basically wanted to turn people into bioweapons. With they kind of look like Borg. That's what they do. They kind of look like Borg. Remember the Star Trek TV series? Picard and all those guys were always fighting the Borg and everything. They want to kind of make warriors that look like the Borg. With the Gatling guns hooked to their arms and stuff like that, and flamethrowers and stuff like that. And you know, it's just really very sad. It's very sad. You know, it's you know, the whole facility is just loaded with, it's kind of like a prison, really. All the zombies are in their individual cells. You know, there's just hundreds and hundreds of them. You know, and I think that there's like 10 levels to this building. It's a huge building. You know, it's basically just kind of like, it's just creepy. It's not a really huge cast. The only thing is there are a lot of zombies. I don't know if they're CGI zombies or whatever, but it seems to have a pretty large cast. And so basically what's going down is that these what happens is this one kid, well, it centers on this group of kids. And they kind of like to race their little dirt bikes around the city and the country and stuff like that. So one of the kid goes down and excuse me, and he gets admitted to the hospital. Except they transfer him to Hydrotech instead because they want to experiment on live people. And of course, all these other kids finally find out that he's basically, of course, one of the guy's girlfriends works there. And so they find out he was transferred there because he's going to be part of their bioweaponry program. Even though he's still alive, he's going to be exposed to 3,4,5 trioxin, which is the chemical that reanimates the dead, So we, woo, stuff like that. Same as the other four movies, I should say. And so they basically rescue him. Of course, all hell breaks loose, and the lockdown is screwed up. All the zombies start getting out of their goddamn their pens and their rooms and stuff like that. And the one kid they had strapped down that was going to experiment on him, he gets bitten in the neck, and of course he slowly turns into one of the brain munching zombies. And so it's basically around these kids who try to rescue him. And of course, they want to expose the company for what it is. They don't, the company is just a phony front for what they're really doing. They try to help the world with all the chemicals and everything, and and farmers and all that kind of stuff, and in food items. Apparently, according to their big old, commercial spot, they help with food items too. They make food. God, Hydrotech, that's the name of the company that we're talking about here in this movie. But Peter Coyote is basically the head of research at at Hydrotech. He's actually a complete sleazeball in this movie, man. I have to give him thumbs up on his performance. He does a great job portraying a complete worthless piece of scumbag, dirtbag piece of garbage. It doesn't care about people. He just takes anybody he can. Anybody he could basically dies comes there, or he experiments on live people and stuff too. So that's really sad. He has no remorse at all on people about the people he's experimenting on and stuff like that. He basically wants to keep getting richer, 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 and richer, because all the countries will want his weaponry, his Borg, his little Gatling gun Borg type, super soldiers. Let's call them super soldiers. It's like, okay, super soldiers, man. Oh God, you're very familiar with this story. This has been played out 1,000 times and hundreds of times in different movies over the last 20, 30, 40 years, whatever. Maybe more recently in the last 10 or 20 years because of the CGI and everything, so they can do more with movies and stuff like that because of the special effects and everything. The zombies in this movie are okay. They all got their hospital gowns on and stuff like that. Their baggy pants and shirts and stuff like that. And they're all fucked up. They're all zombies. They just want brains. And so this movie basically is just, it's a fight between the kids trying to rescue one of their buddies inside Hydrotech and Peter Coyote's, oh God, he just want to kill this guy. He's so worthless, man. He's the only redeeming factor in this movie. I would think that, if they should have brought him back for number 5. I don't understand. I'm not sure if he's in Rave to the Grave. I'm gonna have to check that out. But at the end, he basically escapes with like 4 or 5 canisters, with the Living Dead zombies, the 2,4,5 tracks and chemical inside the big old barrel drums. So he's basically, he gets away at the end, which is really kind of, of course they want to keep making sequels, but, the movie, like I said, the acting is lame. The dialogue is lame. I got a really itchy nose here. I don't know what the hell. And the script is pretty lame. They could have done a much better job. I'm not sure who the guy was that did this movie, but he did try. I have to give him some effort on try to reanimate the movie after number three with Melinda Clark and Kent McCord. We already discussed that movie a couple of days ago, which I thought was a pretty cool movie. This is like a step down from that movie. It's like this is where the series really started to go downhill in the Return of the Living Dead series. One and two, I thought were classics. At least I thought they were funny. Three was more grim, right to the point, which is I liked that movie too. But then four and five, it started going down after three. And this movie went right down, and they desperately tried to make it entertaining and stuff. And most of the actors are it's the mixture of like English speaking actors and people over in Russia who can basically speak English pretty well. They cover up their accent fairly well. Even though they're Eastern European type actors. Young kids, 20 years old or whatever it might be. So it's a mixture of Western and Eastern and Soviet Union type actors or Russian type actors and stuff like that. I don't know where they found all these people, but I just don't. This movie just doesn't work for me. I mean, when I watched this movie a couple years ago, I kind of liked certain aspects of it, and I kind of do like certain aspects of it, but it's basically it. After viewing it for like the third time in a couple years, I come to the conclusion that it's really a piece of shit. It's just a total piece of shit. I try to be very objective about my views and everything, but ah, I just think this one just falls flat on its face. And of course, Rave to the Grave, the fifth one, which came. Now, this movie, Necropolis, came out in 2005, by the way. And it's Lionsgate Pictures. And not that that really makes any difference for most people. They probably don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. It's just a movie company. They put out some good movies and some duds and some pieces of crap and some good movies. Some duds, some pieces of crap and good movies. And uh, anyway, this movie. God, do I gotta really stretch this out for 20 minutes? I can stretch this movie out for 20 minutes. I don't want to, man. Oh, anyway, I think I gave number one and number two, Return of the Living Dead, like oh geez, what was the reviews? Maybe eights or something like that, nines, and maybe three. The third one, I think I gave it eight or something like that. This movie, I can only give maybe a five, maybe a five, just to be fair, and to try to give, a five as high as I can go out of 10 Spiderwebs. It's just Peter Coyote, though. I would give probably about 8 or 9 for his performance because he is, like I said before, he is just a worthless piece of dog shit. The head of Hardrict over in Russia, where the hell this facility is located, and this movie, like I said, it reminds me, it's a poor man's Resident Evil series. They try to capitalize on the Resident Evil movies, I think, and they fall flat on their face. It has nothing to do with. I hope this guy actually gets control of this movie. I'm not sure if this is the same guy that did Rage to the Grave, the follow up to this movie, but if I think he might have some possibilities of making a better movie if he concentrates, maybe goes back to the comedy again, like the very first two movies, and forget about the high tech facility over in where in the hell it's located, over where the movie's basically based up, over in Russia or whatever, and I just I just don't like this movie. I except for Peter Coyote, I just there's the back cover right there. God damn, I got something in my it's itching me. Sorry, folks, I got something itching my nose really bad. Maybe it's some bugs. I don't know. Anyway, there's the movie Return of the Living Dead Necropolis, 2005. We're only going to give it a 5, and maybe let's give it a 4.5. It doesn't even deserve a 4.5, but I'm gonna try to give it the benefit of the doubt. because there's some people that actually might like certain aspects of this movie. And now, if you like zombies, folks, the zombies are halfway decent. The makeup is pretty decent. You know, of course, they want to eat brains and stuff like that. And all the college kids, the high school kids, are all stupid and everything. You know, so it basically is pretty juvenile, you know, the whole thing from start to finish. You know, it's a stupid story. It doesn't, you know, it makes no sense. It's not. It doesn't really work for me, you know. It could have had a much better script. It could have been much better acted. You know, maybe get better actors, bring in a few more big names. Of course, you probably couldn't afford very many names, except for Peter Coyote and stuff like that. So he's basically did the best he could, which I give him some credit for that. So, uh, anyway, let's talk about the very first two movies. Let's see what time we got here. Yeah, we got a few minutes to kill. Now, like I said, this series has to be rebooted. It has to be rebooted because, you know, this was a great series from 1, 2, and 3, and then it just fell right down. It went right downhill in 4 and 5. It needs to be picked up by somebody. I don't care who it is, an American producer, director. I don't care. But this series had great potential, and it just went straight downhill after number 3. And I don't even know if they're actually working on a sixth movie. And if it's the same people for 4 and 5, God help us all, because, you know, it needs to get into the right hands, folks. It needs to get into the right hands to be reinvented and rejuvenated. It's that plain and simple. That's my opinion on this movie, and I'm sure a lot of people would agree about this too. You know, that it was a great series at one time. Now it's just basically dead. It needs to be reanimated, folks, by somebody who has some fucking brains and it cares about this particular series. So I think we're going to end this review because there's really not much more I can really say about this. Like I said, 4.5 Spiderwebs at the very most. Let's see. Don't even bother with Rave to the Grave, folks. It's even worse than number 4. It's really stupid. Probably by the same guy. Okay. Anyway, we're going to end this review, and I want to thank you all for listening to my rants, you know, about these movies and stuff like that. And tell me what you think in the comments on YouTube or Facebook or whatever. I might be posting this video. There's always comment boxes and stuff like that. And you're more than welcome to give me some criticism about my reviews and stuff like that. And of course, I know I'm right about this review. I'm pretty much right about all my reviews and all the movies I've really done on YouTube. You know, I always tell you the truth about these movies. If they have any redeeming factors whatsoever, even maybe just renting to watch, or maybe putting you. If you're a zombie fan, this probably a good inclusion into your zombie your library. But you know, it's not, you know, it's one of these kind of movies where you just pull it out. That's a bad term there. I mean, it sounded kind of disgusting. You pull it off your video collection, and you just watch it because there's nothing. You're bored and stuff like that. That's kind of one of these kind of movies. You know, you just don't watch this on a regular basis. You just watch it because you have nothing else to watch, and it's basically you need something. You've seen this movie 100 times, you know, and you'd rather just sit and watch it again, you know, even though you know it's all stupid, not very well done. So. But anyway, we're going to end this review. Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little under the weather tonight. And, hey, I want to apologize for Penny last night. I actually deleted that video on YouTube. We had the fungus and the big eye hanging out of his face. I thought that was he was really out of his element last night. I basically deleted that video, and I told him he has to do better because I think he fell really short on that video. He was just completely zoned out on medication and booze and everything else. And you know, we need to have better videos by him. So by Penny. So he's pretty upset about that, and he's going to try to redo that video and maybe come up with a little better dialogue and, you know, elements to make it a little more fun and interesting. I thought it was pretty bad. So anyway, we'll see you guys on the next movie review webcast next time. So you guys take care and behave yourselves.